And so it just never came. So I'm like, okay, I started to kind of open up.
Yeah. I mean, if that's, because it wasn't his pro debut, was it? Or was it?
It was his second fight.
Second fight, yes. I mean, and I don't know what the record was before that for him. I don't know if
he was 0-1, but apparently, like, his one loss was one of his losses as an amateur, and that guy was like pretty decent,
pretty good.
But he was like, I saw an interview like the week before my fight, and he was sounding really confident. And he was like, apparently he couldn't find a fight, and people had been turning down fights like where he was at, so that's why he was coming to Texas. And so that's when I saw that interview, I'm like, who am I fighting? You know what I mean? I had to like kind of get some more information on him.
Like, wait a minute, is that my opponent?
Yeah, he was like, and then kind of like the blogs around him and stuff were like making him seem like he was like the next Gordon Ryan or something. Like, he's a submission specialist and this and that. So I'm like, damn, I gotta start, like maybe getting back on the ground a little bit.
Let me learn how to defend a shot real quick. Yeah, I mean,
but
it's always interesting to see kind of what guys end up doing, like in the cage, because I mean the lights hit you a little bit, and it's just like, man, I'm gonna fall right back into my comfort zone. And I mean, you've seen it happen a couple times. I mean, I've seen it happen a few times with fighters. They just kind of get a little, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but they kind of like get lost in the moment a little bit.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. Like, for me, especially having a stand-up background, like there's little things that you don't even know that you're doing, like standing up tall, overextending. In the stand-up game, you can get away with it because you don't have to worry about the shot. You know what I mean?
Real quick, guys, we are live. Everybody, sPidA here, the Fight Card Podcast, of course, being joined by Aaron Suarez across from me, and our guest, of course, he's returning to the studio, man. Yes. Zachary, Borrego. Bro,
thanks for having me.
No, not a problem, man. Thank you for bringing Aaron some coffee. I mean, I know you didn't, but it's a thought that counts, bro.
I offered.
He offered, man.
My man, but you are coming off a win. This happened over the weekend, man. Just a few days away. Fury UFC, of course. Great platform. I mean, the guys are doing great things. You got the win. Are you happy with that win?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always gonna be happy when you can walk away with the win. The result of the win was kind of what we had been planning, and something that we stay true to in our camp is always, a combination kick follow up. Punch follow up with a kick. We always want to be the first one hitting and the last one initiating the fight. So that's kind of our thing that we pride ourselves on, and it just so happened to work out. As far as performance goes, there's a lot of things we can clean up. I won Kick of the Night, which was super cool. They put me like on their Instagram and gave me a little shout out, and it's sponsored by like a shoe store, and I'm a big shoe head, so I'm like, what can we, I get some discount or something like that?
You better put a shoe on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go work out. So these are like my workout.
Okay, man. I was gonna start calling you out. Right now. You got the Crocs on.
I have those too, but it was quick, which is always good. You can get in and get out. But I'm more excited of taking what I learned in this and putting together more of a complete picture next fight.
And let me ask you, man, because of course, I mean, your background. I mean, it is karate. Was your dad happy about that? I mean, the way you won?
Yeah, he was. Same thing with him. But like, there was a couple of things that he caught on, and I actually heard him this fight. There's been a couple of fights where I'm like, he's like, aren't you hearing me? I'm like, dude, no, I don't hear anything that you're saying. But there was a couple things that I was hearing him say that I could have caught him with a little bit more earlier. And rewatching the fight, I'm like, oh, okay, there it is, But he's happy, and he's giving me his critique and his corrections, and same thing with him. He's excited to get back to training and getting ready to go again.
No, and of course, I mean, you just finished, fighting, but realistically, what's your time frame, man? I mean, what's your next? When can we see you next?
Yeah, mentally, I want to go next week if I could. Unfortunately, though, I do have a few injuries that have kind of been nagging around since my last fight that I need to get taken care of. One of those being a shoulder injury, so I need to take care of that. realistically, I've kind of just chatted up a little bit with Eric, maybe April, May-ish, depending on the shoulder stuff. And it's something that, like, I can get away with, but this past camp, man, I couldn't. Like, a big part of my cardio is redlining, in practice, 2-3 times a week. And I just couldn't do that because I was really afraid of hurting myself. So I need to get that taken care of, as soon as possible.
No, and I mean, of course, you have guys like Aaron over here, man. He'll fight tomorrow. He'll fight right now, man. We're going to the rodeo.
There you go,
I know.
Ready to go?
I was driving, dude. I was hoping somebody would, dude. I mean,
just cut you off or something.
I wish. Like,
where you at, buddy?
Where you at? Hold on, get out of the car. Let me see how big you are.
No kidding, man. What's your weight class?
Hold on. What's your experience?
It's got to be under 170, man. But yeah, man. But I mean, of course, you train with a lot of good people this fight camp, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, it showed. Because, I mean, you're getting better and better every fight. I mean, of course, we only saw a short, but your composure. I mean, the fact that you went in there, you look great. I mean, mentally, physically. What's your fight? Is your fight IQ getting better? I mean, now that you're stepping in there.
Yeah. The biggest thing is understanding my opponent. Like I was mentioning earlier, he did have 10 wins as an amateur, all by submission. And so, and if it wasn't submission, I think there was like 2 TKOs that it was ground and pound stuff, So, just knowing that, I didn't want to go off. I do like to kick. I didn't want to be throwing senseless kicks that would have been easy to catch and take it to the ground. I didn't want to overextend. That's another thing that I feel like I've done before in the past. And I just wanted to kind of let the fight come to me. And it was funny because my last fight for the belt, before I was going out there, I'm, getting excited, getting ready to go, and I'm like, I'm gonna knock this dude out first round. And then my pops looks at me, he's like, just let it come to you, man. Like, don't worry about what round it is and this and that. And so as we were walking out, he like literally looked at me, he's like, just let it come to you. Don't worry about what round it is and this and that. And I was like, okay. And I think that's more of just a nervous thing. Like, you're getting ready to go and you're like, okay, I want to put him out. But then thinking like that can make, let me mistakes happen. So I'm proud of the way that I composed myself, and same thing that we had been talking about and what my pop said. As the fight went on, again, even though it was only like a minute or so, I started catching little things and kind of just touching them up, and sure thing, it just happened. So
yeah, no. I mean, you bring up a good point with the kind of getting in your own head a little bit before, and we had obviously plenty of fighters where they make their debut, whether it's a pro or an amateur, and then they get the knockout. And then all of a sudden, that's all they're focusing on. And they kind of get it. They're like, oh, man, I got this right hand, or, oh, I got this head kick, or, oh, I got whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you got to let the fight come to you, man. You got to
exactly.
let it, And so, no, that's a very good advice from your pops, man.
And another thing, too, is, like, I really feel it's hard to, I guess, see, and because a lot of my wins have been by first-round finishes. But I pride myself on being a student of martial arts, whether that be MMA, whether that be Muay Thai, whether that be point karate, whatever it is, I'm a student of what I'm practicing, and I want to show that, you know what I mean. And sometimes when you're, a right hand can get in, a kick can get in, but there could be holes in the game if that's all that you're relying on, you know what I mean. And I want to show that I'm not just relying on my power, that I can pick apart a fighter and I can implement a game plan well.
No, definitely, man. What did you think about the stoppage? Did you think it was fair?
I thought it was pretty questionable. I'm not gonna lie. As a fighter, if I was on the other side, I'd be like, dude, what the hell? I think if he would have stopped it earlier, because we did count like 22 shots. You know what I mean? If he would have stopped it during then. If he would have stopped it like during the punches, then it would have been a little bit more better for the viewers. But like for me, when I was punching him, I started tiring out. Like I felt my arms starting to build up that lactic acid, and I had a guillotine for a little bit. But same thing, awareness. I didn't want to put myself on my back against a jiu-jitsu brown belt. You know what I mean? Exactly. So that's, I don't know if you saw, but then I was like, okay, I need to stop gassing myself out, and I try to separate. And then by then it was over. Although I do remember like him holding on to my leg, and as I was punching, the ref was like, you need to do something. Yeah. And there's like a little gap where like he was kind of like, I felt his pressure kind of just release, a little, but he was kind of just leaning on my leg. So, I would have liked us to gone a little more, but
longer, yeah.
I'm not going to complain.
Anytime it comes out in your favor, no, you should have stopped it 10 seconds sooner. And that's something I was trying to explain to some of the guys, just casuals, and this is like, I mean, the rest got to make a split decision, man. You know what I'm saying? I said, he's a human too, so, what it looks like, I said, you said he gave him some warning, so... Yeah, I'm just like, at that point, it's probably, hey man, just let go of the leg, let go of the leg, and so because it seemed like you were, not that you were retreating, but you were trying to get him away from you. You clearly wanted to separate, so I was like, hey man, just let him go. You might get that restart.
It's also to the position, right? Because if you take that same position and you put him in a turtle position and he's covering up, it's like the fight would have been over. You know what I mean? Even if he is holding on to something or he's just covering up, but he was just using my leg to cover up. So it's like, it looks like he was doing something, but if he really wanted the single leg, he could have tried to do it. You know what I mean? Like, he was just kind of holding. So I get it. Like, I'm not going to, like I said, if I was on the opposite corner, I would have been like, hey man, what's up? But
did he tell you anything or not? Was he like cool with it?
Nah, he was cool with it. I talked to him after, and I missed weight for the first time in my career. You jinxed me, man.
And I was gonna say, I had nothing to do with it.
For real.
That was I guess we'll talk about that later, but the injuries were a part of it, and then I think I kind of got like a little sick last week. Because I went to bed at 188, which was like perfect for me. And usually I'll float half a pound when you're that dehydrated. Kind of, a pound would be ideal. But I woke up with the same exact weight like I went to sleep on, and I had a horrible night. And I'm not making excuses because I am a professional now, and there's really no excuse for it. But it just it was shitty, man. I jumped in the sauna, I jumped in a hot bath, and just couldn't break a sweat. So, but I did apologize to his camp for that, and kind of told him, it won't happen again. So, he was cool with, I guess the results.
Yeah. And let me ask you, man, because this was your fourth opponent. I mean, of course, going through that transition and mindset, I mean, you're like, okay, now I'm fighting somebody. You mentioned earlier that you didn't kind of look him up when you found out that he was a jiu-jitsu guy. You were like, damn. But I guess my question is, in the fight game, I mean, back in the day, it was like you showed up, okay, both you guys are fighting, and you didn't know anything. I mean, of course, now everybody does homework. They want at least 2-3 months to get the right training, to get the right game plan. But, I mean, are you a fan of that? Or would you rather be like, you know what, just put me against somebody and let me see what happens?
This kind of part of my career, I do think the matchups are slightly important because you don't want to be going against like 5-0, 6-0 guys that are next fight UFC bound, and you're like making
no one told me that.
But on the same, like, as a competitor, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see where I'm at. But is it smart? Probably not.
Right.
But at this point and for this fight, like, Eric does a really good job from Fury, and I'm pretty sure other promoters do it too. But he does a good job of matching everyone up. If you're making your debut, you're not going to fight someone more than 3 fights. Same thing. If you have more than 3 fights, you're not going to fight someone with less than 3 fights. So he does a good job of finding a matchup that makes sense. So I was pretty confident in whatever matchup he brought to the table. You know what I mean? Would I do it again? Like, a big part of me wanting to keep this fight was because I was fighting in front of San Antonio, and I wanted to make sure that, I didn't fight here for almost a year. Like, I was having to go to Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and everyone was like, let us know when you're here, So when I fought here in August, we had a really good turnout, and I loved the atmosphere. It felt like, waking up on Sunday like I was just going to the gym almost. So, I didn't want to miss that kind of feeling from my pro debut. But moving forward, I think we got to clear up a few things as far as, like, maybe only 2 opponents or something like that. You know what I mean? Because the fourth one, and mentally, it kind of got to me. I hate to admit it, but it did. Like, there'd be 2 days where I'm like, I don't have an opponent. I don't know what I'm training for anymore. And when you have an opponent and you have a set date, it's just, every day you're training. You get tired. No, I know he's still training, so I got to go an extra round. And then when you don't, it's kind of just like, well, I'm tired. Let me grab some more. You know,
It makes it a little bit easier to hey, I'm gonna take this round off.
Yeah.
And man, and let me ask you. I mean, of course, you mentioned. I mean, we're here in San Antonio, man. I mean, there's a lot going on. I know rodeo happened the other day. I don't know if I think you had posted also, man. But Richard Odoms. I mean, he had posted he's retiring from the sport, and you know, the guy you got to train with him. I mean, when he started his career in MMA, I was there for his pro debut. I mean, the fact, and I was telling somebody this the other day, man. It's I mean, he works full time. You know, he teaches. He's a father. He's a husband, so he's always busy. But the fact that he was still fighting and still at that level, and I mean, for me, it's like, man, if he would have been training full time, man, he'd be world champion, bro. Like, I mean, his heart just as bigger than him.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean. Are you still hoping he'll come in and roll with you and spar with you?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're already making some moves. We're gonna obviously give him some time, but he's a traditional martial arts guy. He himself has reached out to me and my father multiple times as far as getting something set up. You know, so I think it just makes sense. I'm a bigger dude, you know, so I need bigger guys to be around with and train with. So we're definitely gonna reach out to Big O and see if we can get, you know, some time with him. But yeah, man, one hell of a career. I didn't know he was, what is he, 42, 40 something, 43?
I think he said 46. I think
46, something.
We'll have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
Let me check my Wikipedia.
But I mean, just for what he was doing at his age, and then like competitively, you gotta think, and that's the thing with the fight game, like. Especially in 4-ounce gloves, man, you get caught. When you're that heavy, you get caught, something's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But it's not like he was ever like just outclassed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his last couple of fights, he just got caught, and I think he's making a smart decision as far as, you know, spending more time with his family. I know he's got I think 2 sons that are like kind of teenager age and stuff. So, you know,
well, I think his oldest is I think he's got one son, but I know he said that was basically his training partner, man, for most of his fights, because he's a big kid,
He's a big
man.
kid, man. Yeah. So I mean, and I don't know how old he is now, but yeah, I'm worried about that too.
No, exactly. I mean, what's coming? You know?
I saw him after my fight. I jumped on the cage and like I just hear someone like Zach, and he's like pointing at me, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Richard.
Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. It was like eye level too, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And
man.
about your fight, bro. I mean, it was quick, but did it feel like an hour? I mean, the whole time that whole minute and whatever second. I mean, did it feel long or?
Kind of. You know, I was really conscious of the 5 minutes. Like I said, I was dealing with a little bit of an injury going into it. Which again, I'm not making excuses, because you can ask everyone on the card, and I'm more than sure everyone had an injury. You know. But I was kind of conscious of not trying to go hard for what I was used to, which is 3 minutes, and then like, oh shit, I have another 2 minutes left, you know. But it did feel kind of long. And then also I found out literally the day of, like 2 fights before my fight, that I was a swing belt. So we're warming up.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, there's 2 fights before me, right? And you obviously can feel the tension like building up, because Cowboys, man, you're like, your opponent is across the little boardwalk,
like,
you know,
reaching over.
Yeah, so I'm seeing him warm up, and he's breaking a sweat, and I'm breaking a sweat, and of course, that's the one thing about like having your friends and everyone come, you know, watch you, is like, all of a sudden, like, my best friend is like, hey, he's warming up, and I'm like, dude, I know, like, we're about to fight. Like, he's throwing this, he's throwing that. I'm like, just leave me alone, you know.
Yeah.
And then Ray comes up to me, Ray from Ultimate Submission, Ray Rodriguez, and he was like, I think you're a swing belt, like just casually, and I'm like, what does that even mean, right? So still warming up, and then like the second, you know, fight before me. Is supposed to be going on, then all of a sudden I hear like they're doing an intermission, and then Eddie Friday comes up to me, and he was like, yeah, dog, we're not fighting until after the main card. And I'm like, what?
Damn.
You know, like, so that made it feel like a lot longer than it really was. You know?
For sure, man. And that's one of the things, because it was televised. I had mentioned before, like when I covered the fights here for Bellator, the same thing happened. But it was like, I'm in the back, literally hanging out with the fighters, man, and the guys resting, just chilling out. Andrew Chappelle was one of them, and they just go up and they're like, hey, Chappelle, you're next. And he's like what? Like, I mean, so he didn't get a lot of time to warm up, man. And it's just, it sucks because, like you said, you got to get in that little zone and be like, okay, let's go. And I mean, so when they told you that, what happened, man? Were you like, okay, well, let me cool down, or?
Well, that's the thing, man. No one told me. Like,
No one told you.
no,
It was great. He was just like, hey, man.
I'm like a debut guy, so I get it. But apparently, like, this happens a lot. The two people who told me was Eddie Friday and Ray Rodriguez. You know, like, and my pops, like, we ended up having to ask the state later on. But he's warming me up, so he doesn't know either. You know, my wrestling coach, Coach Herrera, he's over there getting some drills in with me. No one from our camp knew, you know. But like, so when Ray told me, I'm like, what is Ray talking about? You know, like, I didn't. So I feel like someone should have told me. And then when Eddie told me, I guess Ray went to go check with the state, and they're like just casual, like, oh yeah, you're not going on to after the main card, and I'm like.
Dude, yeah, well, see, I thought my Facebook was messing up, because I was just like, man, I said I'm looking out for these guys, and I'm like, dude, there's only like 3 fights. I didn't see nobody else, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just go ahead and put my stream away or something. Maybe they caught on to me or something. But
people, were hitting me up. Did you fight? What did you get canceled? I'm like,
You're like, damn.
Did you back out?
I knew you were gonna back out.
I want my ticket money back.
Yeah, man.
but I mean, okay, so that happened, and I mean, now you went through the process, and now are you ready? I mean, are you thinking, okay, next fight, I mean, comes up, are you going to be more relaxed? Are you going to be more, like, headstrong as far as what's going to happen?
Yeah, you know, I got to be, I guess, cautious of those type of moments. I'm going to talk to Eric about maybe getting on the main card or something like that, you know, just because I feel like every time I fight, I do want to put on a show, you know, and I feel like my performances have kind of shown that, and we hinted at some things for my next fight, so hopefully it'll for sure be on the main card. But even if it doesn't, man, I made a post, whether it's a main bout, a swing bout, like I'm looking for a finish, you know, and I'm looking to put on a show, and whether it comes before the main card, after the main card, the day before, you know, it's a fight.
At the weigh-ins, whatever.
How many tickets you sell?
I was able to sell like over 50 something, which is incredible.
Yeah. I think we could probably work something out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's always a big thing.
Mm-hmm. And we talked this when you got here, man. The hair, bro. Well, what's going on with the hair, man? Talk to us.
So how it originally started was, as a kid, I come from a sport karate background, right? There's these 2 big tournaments that we did twice a year. One of them was in El Paso, Texas. It was like a national tournament, meaning everyone from across the United States would come to this one tournament. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of showmen, especially like from my age group,
right?
You know, and it doesn't necessarily like make a difference. If you're winning, people are gonna look at you. But for those national tournaments, big teams, there's a team, Paul Mitchell, just to name one. There's few locally, Team Gypsy. They want you to be a showman, you know what I mean? And when you can get on those teams, it's basically like a sponsorship. They pay for your tournaments, they pay for you to you know, as a kid. So you do want to have something to stand out. And so I was doing it as a kid for those big tournaments, you know what I mean? And I was dyeing my hair. It wasn't necessarily platinum or with a blue stripe, you know, but it started then. And then as I got into football, every year that we'd make the playoffs, like, my team would dye their hair. So I've just been dyeing my hair like ever since a kid, you know, whether it be for something big. How I got the blue stripe, there's like no really hidden story behind it. I was dyeing my hair, and the hairstylist who was dyeing it was like, you ever like tried a two-tone color? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but you know, like I knew.
You're still thinking about that swing bout, right?
Yeah. I knew about Davison Figueredo, so I was like this. She's like, yeah, we could do something like that, and I didn't want to copy his style, so I did it blue. And it was funny because the first time I did it was here for Well, I actually did it for Peak, but I lost that fight, so I don't talk about that. Yeah, but the second time I did it, one of the guys that was like, I guess, helps put the cage up and stuff for Fury was like, do you do it blue for a certain reason? And I'm like, no. And then he goes off to this whole spiel about how I'm a Cancer and how like the blue goes, because I am a Cancer, how the blue means like something to do with Aquarius, and like he had like this whole like rundown of why. So I was like, sounds good to me, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I do it.
Yeah, I got it tattooed right here. Yeah, that's crazy.
Man, and I mean, of course, you talk about coloring your hair. I mean, back in the day, even with Pride, for example, I think it was Hip Hearing. He used to just fight in a singlet. He would just go out and he was just like this big wrestler with a singlet.
Yeah.
He went to Pride and they literally told him like, "Hey, you gotta do something, man. You gotta come out." And he was like, "You know what? Fuck it." He went out, shaved his head, got this crazy hairstyle, started dyeing the different colors. And I mean, something like that does change a persona, man. Because even with him, it made his fights a lot more colorful. I mean, he was like, "Oh crap!" Now you noticed him, and now you're thinking, "Okay, you know what? This guy's not just a big guy with a singlet on. He was a fighter, man." So I mean, you are going to continue this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of like, through my amateur, like, there's only not even really one fight that I didn't like dye my hair as an amateur. So, and then people are always like, "Hey, I saw you because of the hair," like if I run into them downtown and stuff. So I like it. And so much of being a fighter and being successful is obviously your skill, but you got to be somewhat marketable. You know what I mean? I'm not naive to that. And if it's a hairstyle that can do it, if it's the same Southside versus everybody, you got to kind of stick to what works. So
no, definitely, man. And I mean, of course, sponsorships. I mean, those are a big thing. And when it comes to actually being able to showcase yourself, not just wear a shirt, but actually go out there and promote it and let people see. I mean, are you working on that end? Are you working to brand yourself to kind of get you ready for the bigger fights?
Yeah, it's something that I'm gonna be honest with you is something I need help with. And it's just not necessarily that like we can't do it. It's just a lot, man. And when you have a fight coming up, it's hard to worry about like, did this sponsor hit us up, and to go look for new sponsors and put them on a shirt and different packages and stuff. So. But it is something that I do need to pay attention more of. There's a lot of people, man, just growing up on the South Side that want your success, and so there's a lot of people behind me that are willing to sponsor me or help out in any way, just because it feels like it's one of us,
Right.
So that's something that I want to capitalize more on and see. I don't ever want to be someone that's just like taking people's, I don't want to say taking people's money, but if someone's going to sponsor me, we're going to have some type of beneficial relationship. I'm going to help you and you're going to help me, so there's different things that we got to work on, but I am, open to it more, especially being a pro and seeing kind of where everyone is going towards. I need to kind of clean that up a little bit.
Man, and let me ask you this, because if a sponsor were to come about and say, "Okay, you know what, I want my logo on your head," for example, would you be willing to do that for the right money, bro?
Come on, dude. I don't want to be a sellout, man.
Sell out,
dude. Do it.
Pepsi logo, get something. Hey. No, but I'm just saying, because obviously you got the shirt, you got the shorts, the banner. I mean, not just social media. I mean, you can plug everybody in. But I think it was Rico Rodriguez, man, when he fought for MGM or one of the casinos. He had painted another casino on his back, and the UFC was pissed, but you know what I mean, he kind of snuck it in, took off his shirt, and they're like, crap, it was a whole different of course you wouldn't do that.
No.
But I'm just saying, there's different ways to actually market yourself. You're in the fight. As a sponsor myself, when it comes to fighters, man, I always like to see the logo, because I'm like, okay, you know what, it's on his shorts, it's on his banner, it's on his, but yeah, man, it's just, if they pay, those are possibilities, right?
Yeah, and what for my packages, I think they're pretty fair, like even if someone is like, I like a lot of small businesses, people starting their own businesses and stuff. Even if they can't do one of my packages, like I'm like, dude, what can you do, and let's do something. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to be like, this is my price and that's it.
It's a hard line, yeah.
Because like my family comes from starting a small business, you know what I mean? And I know how hard it is to get to a level where you can be comfortable and have enough to support others, you know what I mean? So
that's a good perspective too to have, man. A lot of fighters will come out, man, yeah, dude, I need $600 every month, and that's what it is, and I'll get you on my shorts, or maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man.
But okay, you made your pro debut, you got the win. You went back to the gym. Have you been to the gym since?
Yeah, I actually. So our gym the kids have a sport karate tournament. So like our gym's kind of split right now. We have sport karate for our kids, and we do have it for adults. But most of our teenage adults do like the full contact kickboxing and Muay Thai tournaments or matchups. So our kids are going to a point karate tournament this Saturday. So I was back in on Wednesday helping those guys get ready. I was able to teach a few classes. And then we have one of our older adults about to make his debut either March 5th or March 27th, not set on that. So I was able to help him get a session in. It wasn't a good one, I'm not going to lie. I did like 30 minutes, so I was like, there you go. But yeah, I've been back in.
You'll be all right.
More so on the coaching side, you know.
No, for sure. And now I was going to say, I mean, your dad's keeping you humble, right? I mean, you show up and he's like, hey, go get the mop. Still got to clean up.
Yeah, no, wax on, wax off.
But man, I mean, I was hoping to get your dad. I definitely want to bring him in here soon, man. Having grown up in the South Side, I mean, of course, Aaron interviewed him, and growing up and actually building something, because like I've said, I mean, I've driven through that street so many times growing up, and I've always seen that building, and I've always seen that logo, and it's just the dojo, you know, it's got a good 80s theme to it, man. You know, you gotta love that. But I mean, at that point, and I think the last time you were here, you had mentioned, man, because when it comes time, and your dad's like, okay, you know what, he'll pass the gym on to you. I mean, of course, you're gonna keep the name, but I mean, are you gonna implement other styles or other?
For sure. I mean, we're thinking about it now. Like we said, martial arts is growing so much that you would just be a fool to stick to one thing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you do got to keep the art to it. You can't just be out here teaching everything. You know what I mean? You got to have some type of experience and knowledge in it, and actually tried and tested it. So we're thinking about bringing on a few different coaches to implement different styles for expertise in those styles. I personally, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I've always thought the name could have been changed. Like the dojo karate, it's so like it puts us in a box. You know what I mean? But
at least at first, right?
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, yeah, you think dojo, automatically you think
karate, and then there's so many people, bro, that come in with their kids, and then we'll be doing like an MMA practice or kickboxing. They're like, "Oh, you guys do that here?" It's like, yes, you know, it's not just a name. But that's if, man, like, you know, I would love for my dad to hand me that down, but my dad is very traditional in the sense of like, I got to show that I earn it, you know, and that I want it. And right now, it just like I would love to, you know, but for what I want to get in my career, I don't know if it'd be smart to do it like soon, you know.
Well, that's was it Amanda Nunes right now? I mean, she's doing her own deal, or she's trying to, you know, open up a gym, and I can't imagine how she'll be focusing on training and fighting and doing the right thing, and then also running a business. I mean, it just doesn't seem like the two would match.
No, of course, man. I mean, and for that, just like with your sponsorships, I mean, it'd be nice to get help or get somebody to kind of like, okay, you know what? For example, man, I mean, we've got Anthony Pettis. He's got his promotion coming up tomorrow or tonight.
I think it's tonight.
Tonight on the UFC Fight Pass. And, I mean, I'm sure he's not the one doing everything. I mean, of course, he's a promoter, he's the owner, but, I mean, he's got people under him taking care of the smaller stuff, you know, because it's a lot of work, man. I mean, especially like you said, you know, you're in training camp, you're making your schedule, fixing your schedule randomly just because I'm pretty sure people are like, hey, we're going to train over here now, or now we're going over there, and it's just like, man, throw a wrench in your gear.
But him and Amanda Nunes, like, you know, I hate to say it, but I mean, Amanda, you can't really say, but for Anthony Pettis, I'm a fan, man. I do have a Taekwondo background, and that's a Taekwondo guy. You know what I mean? But you would be lying if you were to say that you haven't seen some sort of maybe decline in his game a little bit. You know what I mean? And then you see all these businesses that he's popping up with. Like, it's hard to manage both of them. You know, I have a full-time job that I don't want to throw myself under the bus, but it's hard to manage both of them. You know what I mean?
Someone's gonna get some mandatory overtime.
Yeah. So I can only imagine when you're, you know, the owner of your business. You know.
Yeah, bro. You see, and I will say this, man. Years back, there was a local gym here, man. They actually brought in Anthony Pettis, and this was before he fought for the title. But it was one of those kind of like hush-hush because, I mean, they couldn't post it because he was a UFC fighter. I don't know, it was kind of political. But the gym owner had contacted me. He's like, hey man, can you just let people on the low know it's gonna be here? So I did, and I'm like, dude, don't share this on social media. And before I knew it, people, I was like, damn, dude, like I was just like, hey man, you can't, I don't want this guy to get in trouble. And it wasn't anything illegal, but it was just more because I guess you couldn't say UFC fighter so and so because UFC would be like, hey, I want my cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a free seminar, but it was just after the seminar itself. I was able to cover it, do photos and stuff. But I did, Anthony Pettis was like, hey, any questions? And my question to him was like, man, when this is all said and done, what would you want to be remembered as? And he kind of thought about it, and he said, you know what, a martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, you know what, it makes sense because, like you said, you kind of have to keep it, that is who you are. You got to show that respect, the foundation. The fact that you come from traditional martial arts and now transitioning into mixed martial arts, but you still want to keep that martial arts, title, right?
Yeah, and that's something too that I always kind of like laugh about whenever someone tells me like, oh, you come from a traditional martial arts background, and I ride with it, and like I'm proud to come from that. But I'm like also like, you guys know like all martial arts has a traditional background. You know what I mean? Like even MMA schools, like there's some type of traditional sense to it. So I just kind of always think that's funny. Like even hearing these commentators, one of them I'm cool with, but there was another one who was like kind of dogging my point karate style.
Uh-oh.
So I might need to have a conversation with him.
But let's bring him on the show.
It's like, dude, there's so many. They were talking about my stance. Like I'm like, okay, Prime Connor, what kind of stance did he have? Karate stance. Think of all the great strikers. What kind of stance? They have that kind of loose, bouncing Wonder Boy.
So
you can even kind of say Izzy, who's probably the arguable one of the best fighters in the UFC. Cyril Gane have the light on the feet moving. Like I'm like, dude, what are you watching? You know what I mean? Like for me to be like all of a sudden a weird style, I don't know, man. It's just, I think it's coming full circle though. I think you're gonna see a lot more traditional martial arts backgrounds being successful in the MMA game.
No, for sure. And of course I was gonna bring this up later in the conversation, but since you brought up Adesanya, of course, the fight is happening tomorrow, Houston, Texas. Are you going?
No, I wish, man. I was like, come on, Houston fans, none of y'all have tickets. But
the back door open, sneak in there. But who do you have for that fight, man? The main event?
No, I don't have Whitaker. I have Stylebender. I think it's going to be interesting because I do feel Whitaker has had time to kind of prepare for this because that division's kind of been like, it's always been him in line, really. Yeah. So I do think he's going to bring a lot of new stuff to the table. But I just think Izzy's too good and too much of in his prime right now.
Aaron, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I got a Stylebender, man. Somebody asked me at work, and I was like, "Yeah, Stylebender." Like, and I just kept walking. Don't talk to me about this.
Like you're fired, by the way.
Yeah, get back to work. Right.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna throw the wrench in the gears, man. I'm gonna go with Whitaker, man.
Wow, dude. All right,
I'm gonna say because even on the first fight, and I've seen it more than once, and I'm thinking, okay, like you said, he's in his prime. And I'm not saying, Stylebender's taking it lightly because I'm sure he trains like a madman when it comes to something this big. But I think he's going to go in there and not so much he's already kind of like checked the distance because of his reach as far as Stylebender. But I think he's going to go in there, take him down and just kind of maul him. Not necessarily beat him up, but I think he's going to tire him out and maybe just score enough points to where he can get that win. Mm-hmm. But we'll see, man. It's going to be the main event, and I wanted to ask about the second one only because, of course, there is going to be a knockout. Derek Lewis, of course, he's fighting Tai Tuivasa. Who do you have for that fight?
Man, that's such a hard one.
Both fan favorites, man.
Both fan favorites, and then, I would like to see Derek Lewis get there again, just because, Cyril Gane absolutely destroyed him in front of his hometown. So I would like for him to kind of redeem himself because, fighting in front of your hometown, man, is so much pressure. Oh yeah, bro. So I feel like he deserves to get one back. But I also feel like Ty's, could be there. The only thing is I feel like the difference between the two is Ty gets touched more. Like when you think of the Greg Hardy fight, he got clipped a few times. Yeah. Almost to the point where he was wobbling. I haven't really seen Derek Lewis get clipped besides Cyril Gahn, like he knows how to manage his distance well and just kind of implement his game plan. So I would like to see Ty win, but I don't know. I'm not putting any money on it this weekend. That's for sure.
That's one of those, man. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it.
So safe to say you got Derek?
Yeah, I'll ride with Derek.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Derek. You?
Same here, man. I'm actually, the guy talked a lot about his fight, man, and I was reading his coach. Well, I think he had posted something, but he was saying he never really trains like everybody else when it comes to going to the gym. He said he had overtrained for Cyril, like Gans, when it came to that bout, that he was just like, yeah, we literally trained a lot for him. He probably overtrained because his body, I guess, wasn't used to, but yeah, I mean, I have him, the last fight, there was a lot of pressure. He and himself, he had said, because it was for an interim title, and he was like, man, this is it, everybody's there, local, of course, the whole family. But I think he's going to go in there just to fight. I don't think he's going to be too much like, okay, well, who's here, who's not. Like, he's going to go under the cage, the door's going to close, and I think he's going to get that knockout, man. I honestly do. I mean, like you said, Ty, I mean, he's actually been tagged. I think Derek can knock him out, dude.
Think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll take him in the first round, honestly.
I got Derek by triangle.
Oh, damn. Flying triangle.
Flying triangle, dude. Yeah, no, I same thing, man. I think, yeah, he's going to touch him up pretty quick, and it maybe second round, but it's going to be I think it's going to be an early night for
I also, though, like, Derek Lewis is known to, like, in my opinion, when he feels someone else's power, he kind of gets standoffish. Like, when you think of him and Francis,
the first one,
they both kind of just canceled each other out. You know what I mean? And like it was kind of a boring fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if they throw the first couple blows and they both respect each other's power, and then it just becomes kind of like these stale kind of
As long as they start dancing, literally,
literally, yeah, my balls is hot, right?
There you go, man. But you know what? And do you think he's gonna do that shoey if he wins, man? You think he's gonna take that drink?
Ty?
Or both?
I mean, I know Derek. No, Derek won't, man. No.
I think he will. I think he'll go under pressure and be like, you know what? He'll get that knockout. He'll be like, screw it.
Nah, man. He'll say something crazy like, man, just give me the shot. Like, don't.
I know. Throw the shoe.
Yeah, just but yeah, no, I don't see Derek. He's too hood for that, man.
After my fight, I jumped on the cage, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like. Yeah, someone throw me a shoe. Like, I didn't know what to do.
You should call for it. You told me what to do.
Hopefully that shoe sponsor, man. There you go, man. They would have given it to you.
I know that would have been perfect, right?
Perfect, dude.
Now you know for next time, bro. Mm-hmm. Have it ready, though. We can be like, no, but you know what, man? I mean, it's all about opportunities. Of course, I always tell fighters, man, when it comes to having a mic, and I mean, if you're at that level, bro, honestly, like Brandon Moreno was here. He was. Hanging out with everybody except with us because he didn't come down here. But you know what? It's for him. I mean, you look through his plugs, his social media outlets, and he's out there. Where I mean, obviously he's got a lot of followers. But it's like when you're at that level. I mean, what do you do? I mean, what can you say? You know what I mean? Like as a fighter, are you thinking, few fights from here, man? Say you get the call and you're like, okay, you know what? You start making a name for yourself. Are you gonna have somebody working your social media outlets?
I mean. Maybe if I get that big, I don't. It's hard for me to see like the need to right now.
Right.
The same thing with like management. There's been like, some back and forth a little bit, but it doesn't make sense for me because I don't. To be honest, like I feel like I'm gonna finish out my 4 fights with Fury. Like I'm being realistic. After then, maybe we can see where I'm at.
Right.
And see what the next steps are, but. Like I don't see the reason to get some money taken away, for the little that I'm getting taken.
Dude, I got you, Eddie.
If that's the case, man, you might need to shoot me a text. But
no, but even now, I mean, even at this level, man, because of course you just made your pro debut, but if you're looking to make this you're really like you said, the 4 fights. I mean, I would definitely jump on it. I would definitely start. Using those outlets to my advantage and say because you never know. I mean, if you decide after your fourth fight that you don't want to compete anymore, or you just decide to do something else, but if you do continue, I mean, that'd be nice to have at least 20,000-30,000 followers already, and then just kind of like, okay, you know what, where are the sponsors at?
In that sense, it does make sense, but I guess the way I'm seeing it right now is because everything I'm doing is so organic. Like I don't have as many followers, but the ones that I do, like I feel like I interact with them and. I know them, you know what I mean? So, like, I I guess I need to open up my eyes a little bit more to the bigger vision and bigger pictures to where I got to go. But
I think you have plenty of fighters that you can also talk to as well.
Mm-hmm,
you know, yeah, like Ivies and stuff like that. So I mean, and you cross train quite a bit. So
yeah, I definitely
get with Ray.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, him too. He's actually and Ray's helped me out a lot. As far as him telling me a few things and then just seeing the things that he does on social media and giving people shout outs and kind of just, he's an example that I can use. So shout out to Ray.
You see, and by all means, when you do get that big, man, don't forget to send this guy a shout out, man.
Yeah, dude, please.
Yeah, of course, man.
Unblock me on Instagram.
Unfollow him.
I gotta follow him back now.
You have to, dude. Yeah.
Man, but like you said, man, I mean, not till April, as far as getting another fight. What are you going to be doing in the meantime?
The biggest thing is I need to see what's up with my shoulder. It's over now, but I popped it rolling, and it was pretty bad. I didn't do anything for almost a week, and then I was gonna put this in my Instagram post, and then I was like, you know what, no one cares. But so when camp first started, I have a dog that I'm fostering right now.
Okay.
And they got into a huge fight with my dog that I've had for years. So I got bit up in my hands. I have scars all the way up my left hand. So that was a week I couldn't do anything. And I felt so shitty because I'm like, dude, I'm a professional fighter and a dog bite put me out. You know what I mean? But they bit me up really, really bad, man. This one on my hand probably should have had stitches. It was loose for a minute. So that was a week. Christmas came, of course, minimal training. And then 3 days after, my dad gets COVID. And then 3 days after that, my mom gets COVID. 3 days after that, my grandma gets COVID. It was in 3 days.
Yeah.
So now I'm having to quarantine myself. I'm pretty sure at one point I don't want to I felt like shit for 3 or 4 days. I've had it before, so I feel a little more immune to it. So that was another week. Then I get back to training, shoulder pops. That's another week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I also have a plantar plate tear in my left foot. And when it's cold, it aggravates it, And so I can't run. I can't really red line with my shoulder, you know what I mean? And then 4 opponents, this one's out. So it was a lot to deal with. But the main thing that I want to do now is make sure that my shoulder's right. The foot stuff, whatever. Put on a wrestling shoe,
Yeah.
But the shoulder one was definitely something that I need to get fixed, see where we're at with that, and then just start implementing new tools, man, for sure. Couple places I want to train. I definitely want to go back to Vegas, spend some time out there.
Yeah.
I've met some new people in Houston, so I'm thinking about going out there and just. I want to ideally I would like to spend a month of adding new tools. Don't worry about a fight. Don't worry about anything. Just learning. And then by then we're maybe 8 to 6 weeks out. We get a fight and then we get in camp. Do
you journal? When you're training, do you hey man, you're going to a new gym, going to Vegas or whatever. Do you have
sometimes I'll do a lot of recording. That's kind of the newer thing. But
yeah,
come on, Aaron.
Yeah.
Come on.
I kind of showed my age. Man, hey, watch out, dude.
I got a pen.
Yeah, dude. All right, let me get on TikTok later.
Not like that, man. I know people say writing things down makes you remember it a little bit more and stuff. I do I'll write down my experiences of what I'm doing and how I'm feeling and this and that. That's something I started doing my last camp for my belt. So many people were like, man, just enjoy the moment, and my strength and conditioning coach is really big on just living in the moment, being happy, and so he's the one that kind of pushed me on to just write down how you feel, and whenever you get nervous or whenever you feel like the moment's too big, revert back to your notes and it'll come. So that's something I have been doing a little bit. But yeah.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, it's something I wish I probably would have done a lot more as far as just going through the training process or whatever. I mean, just write down. I mean, exactly what you're saying as far as how you're feeling. I've had good camps, I've had bad camps. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You see, man, I never did that, but in high school I used to doodle a lot. And what I used to do is I used to write the answers on the test upside down, so when the teacher would turn around, I would switch it over and I'd copy off it, man.
There you go.
I was like, hey, you know what? I still got a D. I don't know how that happened. Right?
Well, you're copying off the wrong kid.
Yeah, I know. I was putting
Writing down the wrong answers.
I said, man, but yeah, man. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I know there's a student here at HOJ, man. I mean, David Longoria. He was saying that the guy's always writing stuff down, and I was thinking like, damn, dude, that's, you know, like you said, I never thought of it. I mean, it would have been smart to kind of like go back and be like, oh crap, okay, you know what?
And the guy that did it a lot that I should have taken notes, right, was Fernando.
Oh yeah,
he had binders and all kinds of journals.
I'm pretty sure he tattooed him on his
Fernando
arm too.
from 10th Planet.
Well, Ambush, yeah.
Yeah. I've trained with him a few times.
He takes notes. Yeah, El Cucuy, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it shows because obviously, I mean, the guy's a technician. I mean, he's been training for years, so I mean, he's still doing it, man. So that's great, man. I wonder if he's still taking notes, man. You gotta bring him in here, bro.
I don't know. We'll have to ask him, man. Hey, man, you still writing notes?
But yeah, I mean, Fury FC, man, they're having a fight tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you on the UFC Fight Pass? Are you a subscriber?
I am subscribed. Yes.
And are you gonna be watching? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I have a few people that I've trained with. I know him as the Bodmon, but I forget his
Casper.
Yeah,
RJ.
Robert Casper. There you go.
Okay.
RJ. I've trained with him a few times. Mitman Joe's the one who's kind of connected me with him, and we've always been cool with each other. So I'm gonna definitely watch him fight. I think he's on a 2-fight win streak or something like that. So I know he started really young in his career, and I'm excited because he's still young. I think he's like 25, 26 with like 12 professional fights or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's been around for a minute.
So I'm excited to see him fight. I think he's fighting a good person who's ranked as far as in the state goes. There's another dude that I fought in the amateur ranks with. He's out of Houston. I think he's a flyweight. Thong is his last name, Joshua Thong. We kind of just chopped it up. So anybody I've talked to previously, you know, I'll probably check you out.
Yeah, out there cheering for him.
And then the main event, man, I saw that guy. I saw Anthony Ivy's brother, Dimitri, actually beat him.
Oh, Heffernan?
No.
Yes, no, it's actually the main event.
He beat him. I think Heffernan's like the
Hussein
co-main.
Ali.
Him, yeah. I saw him fight in Peak, and that was a hell of a fight, man. I had fought in that same card too, and that dude Ali was good, but Dimitri definitely like kind of withstood his stuff, and then was able to tap him out. So.
Yeah, and actually they're fighting for the interim title, man. That's going to be Hossein Maliv versus Andres Quintana. So I mean, it's going to be good, man. And like you said, I mean, there's a lot of fighters on here. I was looking up earlier yesterday and this morning, but a lot of them with a lot of experience. A lot of them on they were in the Contender Series. It's going to be a good card, man. I mean, I'm going to be watching. I don't know if Aaron. I mean, is there anywhere you can? I'll send you a link, bro.
Send me a link, man. Send me some. Yeah, I'll get to it later.
I'll
you don't have Fight Pass?
I don't have Fight Pass,
No.
man. I barely have time. You know,
I'm pretty upset, bro. Like,
I'll leave.
So no. Check this out, right? Like, I apparently thought I was on like what is it, $9.99 a month or something like that.
Right.
Well, there's also a thing where you can choose like pay annually, and so all of a sudden January 1st comes, I'm living New Year great, and then I get like a $200 and some charge. I'm like, what? And I guess I pressed annually, bro. So like when the January 1st year came, I'm like, well, fuck. Now I got a year full of UFC Fight Pass. You know what I mean?
Eric, I need another fight.
I was so upset.
Yeah, actually, when
$10,
I got on
bro.
there,
$10.
When I got on there, I actually got on there 50% off, bro. I got a 50% off. So I paid like $42, I think, for the year.
No shit.
So I'm
maybe it wasn't 200, but I know like I was just middle of the month, like what the fuck? And then UFC Fight Pass.
Well, see, that's why you gotta get sponsors, man. You gotta,
gotta be able to pay that.
Are you sure Aaron didn't borrow your card, man?
Yeah.
I want to check on that,
bro. I was literally like calling my bank, like I didn't authorize this. Like,
what's this UFC guy?
What is
Who
this?
Yeah, I want to talk to him.
Was it under UFC Fight Pass when it comes to your bill?
I think it was under like Zuffa or whatever like the company charge name is. Get me on the phone with Dana, man. I got
right now, dude. Right now, dude. You should see him the next time. Like, I mean, he's in Denver or something like that, or he's checking out a Fury card. Hey, man, let me talk to you about this.
I want to definitely. That's what I would, because I know they go to Fury all the time. I would love, man, to maybe be on a 2-fight win streak. I think they might be coming sometime. What I've heard in the summer, so that might be perfect to get on one of those.
Yeah, dude. Because I know they were at another promotion this past Friday for looking for a fight, man. And that's, I mean, you never know. It's like I said, opportunity, man. Because I mean, the fact that you witnessed the card change so much, man. I mean, it can happen.
Yeah.
When you're in a 2-fight win streak, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna bump you to, put you on the main card," and that's all you need. Man.
The thing that I'm really happy with, and I want to keep going, and again, it's a new mindset that I have in my pro career where I'm not forcing anything, but all my wins are finishes, and 4 of them are in the first round. So if I can keep that going, that's. I think that will carry its own weight. So,
and let me ask you, bro, because you're coming off a loss from this one that was in the amateur ranks. I think, and I had asked you. I mean, if you were kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna get this title and then I'm gonna go pro. But you had talked to your dad, your team, and they were like, you know what, you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
You made that transition. I mean, are you comfortable with this? I mean, now that you're a professional fighter, now you got more pressure because now it'll stay on your record.
Uh-huh.
But are you like mentally like, okay, you know what?
I mean, I would say mentally I'm just more aware, like I said, being smart with my camp, being smart with injuries, being smart with fights, and understanding who I'm fighting, and not just going in there trying to do my own thing. Something that I'm pretty proud of, man, is as an amateur I never turned down a fight. Like if it was offered to me, I took it. Also too, even with Fury, man, like. A lot of people don't get a one fight and then fight for the belt the next fight unless you have like a name. And I was able to do that. You know what I mean? I fought for them once and then was able to fight for the belt. So it was there. You know what I mean? I fought a guy who was really good on the ground. So many people tell me after, like, yeah, man, he's world class, and I'm like, yeah, I know. But a lot of people like apparently were not taking that fight, and so I'm pretty proud of where I stood as an amateur, never turning down a fight. Fought over 3 different weight classes, fought 3 weeks notice, you know what I mean, after just coming off a fight before. So yeah, man, I'm definitely I'm just, like I said, more aware. Like I have a 0 next to my record right now, and I got to protect it as much as I can. So it definitely feels real, and I mean, there's no turning back. I'm not gonna be like, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? Like,
not today. Yeah.
It's always been the plan. So I just feel like I'm here, and like I said, I gotta enjoy the moment and ride with what I got.
No doubt, man.
No, man, no, I love that, man. How do you feel about that as far as taking fights on short notice? Like, would you recommend amateurs like trying to do that? Like, I mean, just trying to get in whenever they can.
I do. I personally do. Again, I wouldn't maybe do it the way that I did, but when you come off a win, like how when I took that 3-week short notice fight over a different weight class, you feel great. You feel as a competitor. I had just submitted a dude within same thing like a minute. I'm like, yeah, whoever, you know what I mean? And that's always been my mindset is I've always been the guy that realizes like where I want to go, see who's at the top, and my mindset is like I got to either beat him or get there, to prove to myself and everyone else that I'm at the top.
Yeah.
Sometimes you fall short. Sometimes you're not ready. Mentally you may be, but there's just different skills that maybe someone else may have that as an amateur you can have and then say, okay, I got to work on this, and at least you did it as an amateur. Whereas, again, I don't want to, there's just a lot of people out there who are like picking fights as amateurs, and it just, to me, like it's like, for what? You're gonna eventually see that, you know what I mean? Like you're eventually gonna find someone who has those skills that you're dodging. Like, might as well see it now. And luckily I was around very experienced people who always told me, like, bro, no matter what you do as an amateur, it's not gonna matter, you know what I mean? Go out and fight as many times as you can, feel confident in the cage, and then when you're ready, go pro, and then you get to start over again. You know what I mean? A lot of people do ride on these amateur careers, and you see it. I don't want to, but you see people with 10 wins as an amateur and then turn pro, and it's like, where are these 10 wins? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, in my opinion, I'd rather have a 3-3 record. I actually have a 4th fight, but it was never put on Tapology. No one believes in me, but it's there.
Sure, buddy.
No, but I'd rather have the 3-3, the 4-3 record, and learn something from each one of those fights. Even if it wasn't something in the cage what I learned, but maybe how to manage a fight, how to take a fight, how to not do a fight 2 weight classes above me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all things that are essential to learning and part of my career. So I tell people, like, we have a guy who's about to debut. I'm like, dude, go out there, do your game plan. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we're shooting for a win. You know what I mean? We're confident in ourselves, but take as much experience as you can in that first fight and say, okay, come back. This is what I got to work on. You know what I mean? And build from there. You'll never learn if you're not putting yourself out there. You know. So I tell people, yeah, take as many fights.
Were there any fights that you saw on that last card? Like you're like, hey man, I like that kid, or I like what he did. Like, did you get to watch any of those fights?
Yeah, I mean, we thankfully had 4 USA guys that I've trained with pretty much all last camp fight, and so I was very happy to see those guys fight. Unfortunately, there was no middleweights. There was a few 170ers. One guy who's a big name is Cody Steele. He had a good fight.
Yeah.
Tough guy, man. Like, for his debut, I think that dude had like 11 fights. Didn't have the most winning record, but his 11 fights showed. You know what I mean? And we've talked about it already a few times. Like, we talked about it this past fight. Like, we need to get together. We've literally fought in the same fight card the last 3 fights. So it's just same thing. Like, we've seen each other. We both fought for a belt. We both had our debut with Fury in August. And then Mitman Joe, of course, works with him, and he's already been trying to put us in contact with each other. So it'd be cool if, we can train together, get some learning experience off of each other. But as a fan of martial arts, I took away something from everyone who fought.
Yeah. What did you think about that? The first fight of the night. This is the 2 bigger guys.
Andrew,
Villafranco.
He trains at Ultimate Submission. I was proud of him, man. He's a 170er, so we definitely trained together a lot. But I was really happy for him, and that just shows, like, the first. I think he was down the first round and second round, right? But it took the third round for him to get comfortable in there, and then he comes out with the finish. You know what I mean? And it's stuff like that I don't know the matchup part of it, but I think he took that fight with like 3 weeks notice, and same thing. Ray was like, just take the fight. You know what I mean? See where you're at, and it worked out. You know what I mean? And it took a couple of rounds, and it took some like, fucking get your hands up, Andrew. You know what I mean? But I was really happy with that, and Andrew definitely, man, from the first time that we've trained together, to seeing how he was fight week, I knew that was gonna happen for sure.
Very impressive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And that was something I had talked to sPidA about before, was just the amount of composure that a lot of these debuters are coming in. Mm-hmm. Like, not even the pro debut, it was the amateur debut, and both guys looked really composed and kind of just calm and doing their game plan. So, the guy, I'm gonna sound like a fanboy, right? But Luis Rodriguez, the guy that fought, my buddy Brandon. Mm-hmm. I mean, Luis, man, 19 years old, and just.
I do remember that fight.
I was impressed by him, and I even told Jacob last night, man. In the DMs, right? It was just like, hey, dude, like, that kid's like, he's fucking, he's pretty sweet.
He's the wrestling coach here too, man.
Is he? Okay, yeah.
I just found that out the other day. I was like, oh damn, because.
Oh, then never mind, dude. I'm not impressed then. But yeah, I mean, and for him to be 19 years old, and to have that composure, to be able to put Brandon in those spots that he was able to put him in, like, that was just incredible, man. I mean, and. To think about that, he probably has another possible 10 to 13 years in fighting. So that's kind of scary.
Yeah, man. Especially like these young. I'm gonna sound old even though I'm not. But like whenever I go against like a 19-year-old, I'm like, what are you taking, dude? Like, chill out. Like, it's so crazy how much everything is just evolving. You know what I mean? And the more the game evolves, the more these younger people can catch on to it, and then just go and like, hey, I saw this on TV, so I'm gonna try it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same for me, man. I gotta like drill it 100 times, and everyone's different, but it's really, really cool. I believe what San Antonio is bringing to the table. Like, I had a talk with my pops, and I had a talk with Ray about it, and it's like I really feel like San Antonio's kind of right there, you know what I mean, as far as putting out talent goes, and I think we're at a stage now where the egos are starting to die out a little bit, and more people are starting to train with each other, and if you get matched up with someone, it's unfortunate from the city, but everyone's kind of under the impression that like everyone can learn from somebody. So I think we'll be putting out some really good talent here soon for to add to the ones that we already have.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, man. That's always been a big thing as far as, you know, trying to get guys to really release some of that ego and go train with other guys, man. I mean, and I'm sure it still happens every now and again. It's just like, hey, sure you want to go train with that guy, but I mean, seeing the benefits, you know, far outweigh the cons of it, man. I mean, you get to, I mean, I know the Ivies, they're always traveling, you know, ambush, and then they're over here for you know, the was it open mat on Sunday, so it's like, you know, they're constantly just evolving.
Yeah, so. And he's big Ant, man, for me personally. Like, I'll never forget the first time we trained at Ray's gym. It was one of those, like, this was maybe 2 years ago, and it was like you had to get a text to come, and you know, you had to knock on the back door that he had and sneak in. And I showed up late because I was at work, and like Ant was in the UFC at the time. I remember, like, he was the only big dude, and I'm just getting in. I had just had like a smoker fight or something like that, so I'm like coming off a win in the smoker fights, and then they're like, you and Ant are paired up. I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, and we slug it out, man, that day. And of course, his experience level was just so far beyond mine, and I was so frustrated coming home that day. I'm like, man, I just won, and fucking getting taken down left and right. And so we always had that kind of competitive, like, whenever I would see him, you know, but now I feel like we're at a point where, like, we're both just trying to get better, you know, and I think sometimes you have to go through that to earn each other's respect and say, okay, now we put that aside and let's get better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Yeah, no, I'm very excited for the talent that's coming here, you know, in town, and of course, I mean, now it you know, Austin isn't a far drive from us, and you see, of course, Midman Joe's proven that. You know, miles mean nothing, right? I mean, he's in Austin and Houston and Victoria, so, you know, you start getting all these guys from all, you know, the local areas and coming together and training, man. So it's really good, man. I'm enjoying it. So.
Man, I had 2 questions for you, man. One of them is that walkout to the fight, man. Those stairs.
Bro, thank you.
Bro, I saw that and I almost fell, and I wasn't even walking, bro. Like, I was like, damn, like that they look so awkward, man. And I'm thinking, like, dude, how steep were they, man?
Yeah, bro, they were like a good, like, like it was like a good 5-inch drop, man. And then, like, I was looking at some of these smaller guys, and they were just,
I know,
like,
I was popping
down,
guy,
taking off clothes as they're doing it. So, like, when I got there, I realized how steep it was, and I don't know if he saw my walkout, but I was like, bro, I'm not taking off my shit until I'm on level ground here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was cool, but they should have gave us some, like, the only thing I was thinking about was not the fight, not anything. I'm like, don't fall. Like, making sure I step down.
I'm thinking next time maybe Eric should put like a slide. You know, you got sliding.
That would have been cool.
I'll fight just to get on the slide, bro.
It wasn't there the last time we fought here.
No, that was a different layout. Because even when I looked at it, I was like, where the hell is that? Like, I couldn't. I still don't know where it was at. Was it like facing the front of the building or towards the back?
It was facing towards the front. You were coming like. The wall was against like the back of Cowboys. And one thing I didn't like though is you had to separate, like, your coaches had to go like through the regular entrance, and then you were by yourself, and then they get you lined up like the fight before, so you're kind of just like however long that fight lasts, like by yourself, just you know. I like to kind of crack jokes, and my coaches, my pops and Chris know like what I'm doing. You know, we'll joke around a little bit, start playing tag and shit, you know, just to relax a little bit. But those steps, man, were tough.
So that was my first question. My last question, and I'll let Aaron finish this, is next fight, man. Are you going with blue, or are you gonna pick a different color, man, for your hair?
That's a good question, man. I actually I kind of cheated on my hair stylist this time because she was out of town, so I went to a new one. And she gave me like a 2-tone color. She gave me like a violet / like blue, and that was pretty cool. So it just depends, man. I think I got to keep a blue in it, but
we'll have to see, huh?
Yeah, we'll have to see what the mood is.
You know, and I'm looking at it now. He's got like that Street Fighter vibe.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the '90s movie. You know what I'm talking
there
about?
You go. I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so pretty cool,
you
man.
Can start one of those karate wars at the mall now.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai.
You know, I'm digging it, man. Maybe even like a little Fifth Element.
There you go. Yeah,
I think it really is, like, you'd be surprised. Like, I was we went out after my fight on Sunday, but it was a Sunday, bro. So like nobody was out.
Yeah.
And there was like 2 people who, like, I guess were at the fights too that ended up going out. They're like, hey, I saw you fight the hair. So the hair kind of, you know, people notice it. So I like it.
No, you put that on a shirt, man. Just kind of brand it right there.
There you go, man.
I mean, that's an idea.
That's $10. That's
that's your UFC fight pass for the month.
Right there.
Let me patent that real quick, man.
Real quick, yeah. Don't go anywhere, man.
But yeah, man. But go ahead and finish it off, man. We'll go ahead and let the young man head out.
Yeah, no, we won't keep him here for another hour. No, so I know you're gonna plan on fighting in hopefully around May or so. Anybody you're looking at?
I mean, I had 3 opponents. You know what I mean? That one of them was 1-1. That's a good fight. Another one was 1-0 with a win over a Bellator vet. That would have been a good fight. You know, and those are the fights that interest me, because I don't want to have a 4-0 record. And then you're fighting like no disrespect, but 0-3 guys, 0-2 guys,
Well, I think that's gonna be kind of hard. I mean, because with Fury, I mean, it seems like everybody wants to get on that card. So, and Eric it seems like probably a deeper pull. So,
yeah,
I mean, guys that get on that show, they got to be pretty good anyway. So,
yeah, for sure. And like I said, no one is a scrub anymore. Again, no disrespect, but everyone has some type of knowledge. Everyone's coming from a decent camp. You know what I mean? So. I'm open to whatever, but I do know that for sure Eric's probably going to hit up 3 of those opponents, because I think only one of them was another debuter. Everyone else had like 2 fights. So maybe we can get one of those going. The guy with the win over a Bellator vet, I think is a hell of a second fight. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It's going to look good on the record. And my whole plan this year, man, is 4 fights in a year, maybe sooner. And each fight I want to make noise, you know what I mean, and that's a good fight. So
dude, 4 times this year, that'd be cool. And then you got paid.
Yeah, man, I got paid. I got paid.
How was that?
It was cool. It was really cool. I was able.
This, right? Yeah.
Let's do it, man. I was able to take my parents out to breakfast that Monday, so that was cool, and my girlfriend, of course. I was able to buy a couple of drinks, Sunday night.
It's all me, guys.
But what I'm doing this time, and I want to be smart with it, is I'm putting it in a different account, and that's going to be like my fighter account, and I'm going to use that money to go train, because there's been so many times before where I've wanted to go train, or I've gotten an offer, to go train from people I met in Vegas, and I'm like, dude, I'm broke. You know what I mean? How can I get out there? So, I'm having a little fun. Definitely got to. I'm trying to close this deal on some shoes, man. But once I get those shoes, I'm putting the rest away for sure.
Do you got to get some like walkout chanclas? I'm just saying we're in San Antonio, dude. I mean,
I usually either wear the Crocs or I wear my slides to walk out.
Yeah.
But once I saw those steps, man, I was like, bro. Can you imagine my croc flap just getting caught in between and fucking tumbling down?
Bro, that wouldn't have been good.
Eric would have just ripped my contract right there.
right then and there, dude. So that'd have been like a no contest or a TKO? Or
I know, no kidding, man.
That would have been silly for sure. Same thing.
Dude, you would have been a meme real quick.
Bro, when I jumped on the cage, bro, I didn't realize how much give it had. When I jumped up, I was like I had to really fucking clench a little bit.
See, that's why the state don't want us jumping up.
Yeah, I guess that's why, bro. But same thing, everyone was like, "Did you almost fall?" And I'm like, "Nah, bro, I planned it totally."
Right, leaning over, man,
and now the 17 viewers on here are gonna.
They're gonna know.
They're gonna know, man. So that's crazy, man. No, that cage isn't as sturdy.
No, and then because you think about it, whenever your back's against it, you can feel it kind of give in a little bit. So, just imagine a fucking 210-pound guy on top of it. It's gonna move a little bit,
Oh yeah, you don't want no Derek Lewis out there, man. But man, this is it for today, man. I mean, thank you, Zachary Borrego, for stepping in. Of course, Aaron Suarez, as always.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I would like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Plyo Fit, strength and conditioning coach, who also just sponsored Mario Barrios. So I know Mario's back. I need to say what's up to him. He just fought Keith Thurman, for those of you guys who don't know. Tough fight, but I mean, one hell of a fight for your first fight as a welterweight. So I'm excited to talk to him, meet him in the gym. Martinez and Associates, he's been a long sponsor of mine. I'm actually about to go drop off some goodie bags to these guys, so I'll probably see him soon. Lion Fit Foods, he handled all my meals. So Gino, I'll thank him with choking him out later. Rich Mitchell, who's a member of our gym, he's always been a really big sponsor. Best Buds Smoke and Vape Shop, for you guys who need CBD or your smoke necessities, you can go visit him.
Not on the clock.
Yeah. And then of course, Jesus, there's one more.
Uh-oh.
I know. Just all my sponsors, man. I know if I'm forgetting you, I owe you one for sure. But
on Instagram,
for sure, they know who they are, and just thank you for being a supporter.
No, and of course, for other people looking to sponsor you, I mean, this is a great opportunity. Of course, I mean, they can contact you on which handle.
Yeah. So my Instagram is ZB_58. I'm kind of most active on there. I also have a Twitter, which is the same thing. It's going to be actually ZachB_58. And then Facebook is just my name. I got to remove my middle name because, like, everyone's calling me by my middle name. It's a little weird, but
And I was going to ask you about that, but we'll save that for next time, man.
For sure.
But everybody out there, man, this is sPidA once again, DeFi Car Podcast. As always, go to our YouTube channel, our website. You can find Aaron Suarez plug on there as well. And until next time, follow up.
What is your middle name, man? I'm looking at it.
Taylor.
Yeah. You know what? See, I go by my middle name. I don't go by my first name.
The last time I fought for Fury, they put my